We're here with the second town hall discussion of the semester. We'll have about 6 more. Today's topic is statewide politics / student politics, student advocacy. We have a few members here from the community and the district. We have Ju Hong. He's an ex student body president here at Laney. He's graduated from UC Berkeley, I think, right?
Yep.
And still does advocacy for not only just students, but I think immigration and I don't know, stuff like that. So, we also have Toma Fry and Geralyn Bluford from Justice for Allan Wolford. They're here to talk about advocating for the Justice for Allan Wolford and getting Kamala Harris to prosecute the police officers involved and responsible for the murder of Allan Wolford. We also have Taran Singh from College of Alameda. He's the vice president at College of Alameda. We have Elijah Williams. She is the president of the College of Alameda. And we have Justin Terry. He is the vice president at Berkeley City College and also the
State Senator.
he's a statewide senator for the Region 3 for California Community College Statewide Student Senate. So we're also going to let them, that was a brief introduction, we'll let them talk about, what they do and the work they do and what more you can hear from them and give you a chance to ask them questions. So we can start off with Ju Hong.
Alright. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Just to briefly introduce myself and also what type of work that I do. My name is Ju Hong, as Carl mentioned, and I was former student body president at Laney College in 2009 and 2010, and previously 2008 and 2009 I was a senator, and during that time there was a budget cut and we did a lot of educational mobilizations around that. And soon after that, I transferred to UC Berkeley and graduated with my degree in political science. And currently, I'm pursuing my master's degree in public administration at San Francisco State University. And right now, I'm a current research assistant at Harvard University, working around this research around deferred action for child arrivals, or DACA, which is a program that allows certain undocumented immigrants to halt deportations and get driver's license and work authorization. And we're looking at how that program is affecting undocumented immigrant youth and young adults across the country. And recently, I'm also part of the Men's Center. Men's Center is a pilot program at Laney College. It's right next to a student government space, and this pilot program is to help Laney College men to help succeed in their goals, in their personal lives, and in succeed in their attaining higher education. And so how we do that is we do one-on-one counseling, and we provide resources or referrals, and we also do weekly group meeting and discuss about very different topics, and we provide mentorship opportunities. And so please check it out if you have time. Once again, the Student Center right next to a student government space. And I'm here today to talk about student government politics at Laney College, Community College, as well as at UC Berkeley. I was student government senators and student government president, and so I have quite a bit of knowledge around that. And also, I'm also really focusing on immigration issues in the state of California, where focusing on Secure Communities program, which is the program that allows essentially local police and sheriff to acting as deportation agents. And through that program, police have a lot of authority and power to abuse those powers to, target immigrant communities and detain them and deport them, as many as people as possible. And just to give you very brief stats, since 2008 and 2014, because of programs like Secure Communities, approximately 1.8 million undocumented immigrants have been deported due to the anti-immigration deportation programs like Secure Communities. So I will talk more about that if you have any questions, but for now I'll just stop and then just pass on to the mic.
Okay, so I'm Tova Fry, and I'm with the Justice for Allan Wolford Coalition, and I'm also with Workers' World Party, and basically, I'm a political activist. And what that means is that your forum today is talking about, the state, and I think the idea of it is to talk about how you get issues resolved and demands met that with the state government. And so from historical perspective, I'm going to talk about how we look at movements and people's movements around the country and around the world. And do laws get passed because the legislatures just decide to do it, or do laws get passed because people are in the streets making demands on the government and demanding that the government do certain things? So that's the perspective that I'm going to be talking about. And also, in addition to that, there's a specific campaign that, together with Geralyn, who's going to be speaking next, is going to be talking about as well, that we have going on, and that's a campaign to demand that the State Attorney General, Kamala Harris, prosecute the killer cops in California. There's just been a number of outrageous police killings of primarily black and brown youth throughout the state in the last few years. And with the exception of Meserly, who was the killer of Oscar Grant, and he was a BART police officer, there have been almost no prosecutions of these cops who kind of have been going rampant with unchecked and without question, and taking all kinds of liberties to kill black and brown youth just because they're youth and they're doing what youth do. And so we're going to be talking more about that, but I'm going to pass it on now to Geralyn.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Geralyn Bluford. I want to say all power to the people today. I am here as a guest, and I'm honored today to be here. It just is the way that things worked out. Your president, Carl Oliver, is a long-time family member. Now, he's quite a few years younger than I, but I definitely knew who he was since before he became on the earth, and I knew who he was when I walked up and saw him. And I was very pleasured and surprised, but it's just the way that God worked things out, because I wasn't scheduled to be here on this panel, but he met Tova, who is an active member in the Justice for Allan Wolford Coalition that was formed here in Oakland, and she was giving him a little information about our next action, which is actually tomorrow, the 13th of February at 3 o'clock, and he invited she and I. And I just want to give you a little background of who I am. Yes, I am not famous, or I am not someone, maybe you see my face, maybe not, but I have been born and raised here in Oakland, and I have experienced within my own family different fights and challenges and battles with city government. But for my own personal note, I am the mother of slain victim. He was murdered. His name was Allan Wolford, and he was an 18-year-old 12th grade student out of Skyline High School. My son was 2 weeks away before his high school graduation. He was a 3.0 grade point average at school. He had a job with the Oakland Unified School District working in the cafeteria. It was the weekend of the Floyd Mayweather fight, and he and two other of his friends decided to go to the friend's house to watch the fight. After the fight, it was a short fight, so they walked to the store in East Oakland, the corner of 90th and Birch, and they were approached by officers with the lights out. They were just walking the streets, minding their own business. Three young African-American males who the officers were coasting, just following. They were approached and stopped and frisked because of the color of their skin, because they were supposedly looking like they were up to something. And my son was weeks away before his graduation. He didn't, they roughed up one of his friends, threw him up against the fence, and jacked them all up, threw the other guy on the ground, and my son took off running. He ran several blocks, he tripped and fell. The officer went chasing after him. You're supposed to turn on your lapel camera. He never turned on his camera. You're not supposed to brandish your weapon while running. He took his gun out, shot himself in the foot. My son trips and falls. He stands over him and shoots him 3 times while laying on the ground, on his back, saying his last words was, "I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything, and why did you shoot me?" I'm here today to speak on this panel in regards to my personal experiences with city government and the things that we had to go through as a family, as this child's mother, as a community member, as someone that cares with government. Immediately, they come out and they lie. Immediately, they put on a smear campaign. Immediately, they call it justified. But I'm here today because I'm so glad I see so many different faces, because I'm looking to you for each one to teach one. We need to educate our youth and share with them on what their rights are when they're accosted, what things to say when the police harass them. How can we defend stop and frisk? How can we change the laws? This is very important because this is Black History Month, and every day of every month of every year should be a day that we fight to make change. If you don't change, you don't grow. And we want to change. I can't get my son back. He's gone, he's resting in Jesus. But what I can do is fight the good fight, stand up for my rights, make my demands, and get these laws changed. And as I begin to talk a little more, you'll understand the obstacles and the opposition that you come against. This is not just something that just happens to just anyone. Everyone focuses on the fact that it's black on black and it's brown on black, and oh, they must have been doing something. But it's broke on broke. People are poor, people are desperate, and they don't feel like that they have any hope. But you're here, you're in school, you're getting an education, you're learning, you're here on this forum to listen to this panel with a lot of information, and I'm going to look to you for each of you. Each one, teach one.
I'm the VP of Programs at College of Alameda. I'm also the member of Men of Colors, and I'm also a member of PSC and Division 3. I'm here to try to provide a student point of view and how we, the students, advocate for you guys, the other students that you elect us, to advocate on your behalf to try to make things better on campus, off campus, and try to make your lives easier. So I'm here to try to give a student perspective. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laney, the Associated Student Body President for College of Alameda. I'm here to talk to you today and give you more information about students and your rights, more about the Student Success Act. I'm also a member of the Peralta School Council District and a region member. I really like to talk to you about how we can help each other and advocate for rights.
Hello everyone, I'm Justin Terry. I'm the Vice President of Programs for the Associate Students at Berkeley City College. But I am also, in addition to being a member of the PSC, I am the Region 3 Governance and Policy Senator for the SSCCC. And the SSCCC is a statewide organization that deals with issues facing community college students. And we go to Sacramento once a month and we meet and discuss the issues that are going on campuses all over California. Basically what we've done is we've divided the state into 10 regions that range from north to south. It's numbered from 1 to 10. We're Region 3 that covers the Bay Area, so it's like San Francisco, part of the East Bay, goes a little north, goes a little south of us. And the types of work that we get into is education issues on a statewide policy level. And we do things like legislative visits, we lobby, we deal with policies and issues that happen on campuses all over the state day to day. And I'm here to talk to you guys about what the SSCCC is and how you can get involved on helping not just your campus or even your district, but how you can help things better for people from all walks of life all over the state of California.
Okay, and I think I'd like to start with the first discussion topic with Tomo Fry brought up a good point on how do bills get passed. So I'd like to just talk about, we're all here on advocating in one way or another and trying to get bills passed at a statewide level. Anybody want to start off on how bills get passed?
So I just wanted to bring up a recent example of what I mean when I talk about, the way things get done is when people get out in the streets. Is this mic working or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, is by people getting out in the streets. So how many of you have seen all the demonstrations around the country recently by low-wage workers demanding $15 an hour minimum wage? How many of you have seen those? Okay, they've been walking out of McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and all those stores. And what's going on? What did Obama just recently do? He said he's going to try to raise the minimum wage, right? And not by a whole lot. So it's not really what people were asking for. But was it even on the agenda? Was it in front of anybody's face, or was Obama talking about it before all these people were out in the streets all over the country demanding it? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. If you go way back to the civil rights movement, it wasn't President Johnson just deciding that he's going to sign the civil rights bill, was it? What happened? It took Rosa Parks sitting on a bus. It took people sitting at Woolworths counters. It took a lot of people out in the streets and fighting police, and all kinds of things happened all over the country, especially in the South, before there was civil rights legislation passed. And so that's kind of what I'm proposing is that in order for a lot of demands to get listened to and heard, and for change to happen in this country, a lot of times it's not a bunch of Congress people and government officials deciding they're gonna do something that benefits the people, it's the people getting out there and demanding that these things get done. And that's why we're demanding that Kamala Harris prosecute these killer cops. We're having a demonstration tomorrow at 3 p.m. in front of the State Building, a rally and a demonstration to make this demand, because we wrote Kamala Harris a very nice letter and explained all the situation with Allan Wolford's case and why that she should take this up and be prosecuted. And do you know what her response was to the letter? She was satisfied with the county DA, Nancy O'Malley's response, which was to just rubber stamp the OPD's police report. That was her response. So we kind of expected that, but we had to go through that step first. So our next step is we're going to be out there with a big rally, and a lot of families whose loved ones have also been killed demanding that she prosecute. It is well within her powers and jurisdiction. She has jurisdiction over all the county DAs, the county sheriffs, the local police departments. It's very explicitly described in her job description that she's supposed to carry out equal justice in this state. And all those people are under her, and it's under her jurisdiction to do so.
And just to add, after my son was killed, we went to the police department looking for answers. And from the beginning of us walking in, we were treated very badly. They made us wait in the waiting room for an hour. Then after they made us wait, like maybe 2 weeks after his murder, then they said it was justified. They never questioned why the officer didn't turn on his lapel camera. They never questioned why he shot himself. They never, just the questions did not add up. But what they do is they teach their police officers key words to say. I was afraid for my life. He looked in my eyes and I was scared. And the thing about it is, this is a big 6'3", 200 and something pound man, and my son is like 5'8", 150 pounds soaking wet, and he was scared to death. So what we had to do is we had to go to the city council. We went to the city council demanding our rights as a family to get the police reports, to understand why they based their judgment on why they based their judgment. And they said they didn't have it. They turned off my mic when I was speaking before the county. They said they would give it back. They just kept telling lie after lie after lie. But what we began to do is we began to come together as a community, as a family, and we started using our voice. So we went to the city council. We went to the police department. I spoke with the mayor. I spoke with the city administrators who said that she was completely confident that her police officers were doing a full investigation and she supported them 100%. But if they break the law, then who oversees them breaking the law? It's supposed to be the DA. But what DA, what judge, what sergeant, what captain wants to be the one that squeals on the other one? There's been things going on in the department because of this case where it's prejudice. Now, I didn't know that there was a African American union and then there was the police officers union. But there's two separate unions and they work for the same employer. Why is that? Why do they need protection from their own people? Because it's all crooked inside. And nobody, yes, there's laws and based on laws. And yes, they say, okay, well, let's write a bill and get this bill passed. But they all work together. So how do you fight that? You come up with your own bill, you You know, they always say, well, people come and they want to destroy the community, and people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, of people being mistreated, of not knowing what their rights are, so they go along. There were, it was parties happening that night, which was Cinco de Mayo, but there's a lot of immigrants. It happened in front of a family's home that doesn't have green cards. But guess what? They're so afraid to come out and say anything and speak up in the community because then they're going to be deported. So how do we protect the immigrants and their rights, the youth and their rights, the mothers and their rights, the education departments and their rights? I mean, I came on the campus today, there's a lot of things that's going on that you could get involved with. And a lot of times there's so many different things you don't know what to get involved with. But you do have to get involved. What if your grandparent didn't get involved in sit-ins? And see, the thing about it is what they don't tell you is, yeah, in the history books they show the lunch counters and they show the marches. They never emphasize the different ethnic groups and gender groups and people that stood together and the meetings and where they met and how they organized. Organizing, saying we are sick and tired. Let's get together. Let's brainstorm some ideas. You know, reaching out to people like this young man here who has something to say and something to give, or other people that could put themselves in your shoes and research and find out how is it to write. We looked up what Kamala Harris's job description was. Like, I'm just mad and pissed off that she's the top cop and she's letting cops get away with killing. I'm not the only family. There's tons of family. I'm sure you know somebody who has someone. But if that's your job description, why aren't you doing your job? It's all of our job to give back to the community, but if we are not doing our job, how can we make our community better? I feel as such as, you know, I had the opportunity to march in the footsteps of Coretta Scott King for Mother's Day. The People's Power Assembly reenacted the march 40 years ago. And that was a huge deal. But I didn't understand what was it about until I researched it and found out why they were marching and what the march did. And it took 40 miles and how many times they had to do it. They were fighting against poverty and school books instead of jailhouses. They were walking against housing for people. I mean, it was just a lot. Immigration laws, and they put it all together. And one person told another person, which was two people, and it kept going on until it was a lot of people. And that happened in 40 years ago. It still needs to happen today to get this passed. And I could just say that for me, you know, the police officers have their Bill of Rights that they wrote to protect them. It does take a lot of us to write laws and to get those laws passed, but we have to have action also. We have to have substance behind our words, which means that, yeah, we might have to get out and picket. Yeah, we might have to say some chants or do some marches. And it's a lot of different ways to reach people. How do we get the laws passed? By taking action would be my answer. How do we get the laws passed? By organizing and having some good people like you all.
Hi, my name is Mary. I'm the academic mentor for Gateway to College, and these are us. So we totally empathize with your issue, but how can we, you know, now that you're here and we're not the legislator, and a lot of the students that I represent are just from between 16 and 20 years old, so a lot of them haven't even been to a political science course. So, do you need our signature today? It's like, what is it that you guys want from us right now? Our signature, our what? Is there like something that we need to do, that we need to demonstrate tomorrow, or, because I totally understand your concern, but
Yeah.
how can we help? Like, do we have to sign a petition?
Well, we did.
Cost right now, and where is that petition? And, so I'm just, just trying to,
Thank
make
you
a
so
sense
much,
of,
too, because that is important. I might have left that off going on, and it is very important. And the thing is, I understand that maybe, what your dilemma and what you're saying. We have collected over 2,000 signatures on the petition to formally, I've served Nancy O'Malley, the DA of Oakland, before with the petition, but they always act like they want you to go away. That petition is still being circulated. And what we're asking is for people to come out and stand in solidarity and in support of what I'm calling the battle cry. The cry for demand. I mean, they act as if out because our family members are gone that they weren't people or they weren't important, but they are important. And being there, standing in solidarity, that's the first step in educating them on how to take a stand, on how to be a voice, on how to stand for something so you just don't fall for anything. So we are asking that people come out and join us. There will be a program. There are going to be speakers from the union. There'll be where they have their demands. There'll be families from all over California, we hope, that will come out and share their story and their status and make their demand. There are going to be people with spoken word to say something to encourage the youth and to encourage the fight. There will be a cry from the youth saying, we feel as though we don't have any hope, but we see today we're taking a stand and we are generating our own hope and our own fight today. So there's a program, there's some action. There's also one of the people who is an activist, and she's a part of the Love Movement, has a building on 2434 Telegraph, and it's called the Allan Wolford Center for Justice that she named in honor of Allan, and it's a place to help heal the community. And what we do there is it's outreach. For families who've lost loved ones and mothers who's grieving and hearts are broken, or kids who feel that there's no hope and nowhere to turn, who are trying to get into college and they don't have any direction on how to, write an application. We're trying to just outreach because I talk to a lot of youth that feel that there's nowhere to turn and no youth and they have no hope. But today we have hope. There's not a lot of examples of healing, but today I am still a healer. And I want to be an example of what healing looks like. So I'm fighting back. I can't do it for my boy because he's gone, but I can definitely do it for you and all of you here. So that's what it's about.
all right, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm a student in the music department here, and I'm a bit older than most of the students here, so I have more experience in life. And I'm 11 years in the United States, and I try to learn about many things. However, I do see things that has to be balanced. And first of all, I know Antoinette personally, and she told me that the fees are going to go up to $250 a unit. That means in practice, by the back door, there will be again the gap that students will not go to the colleges. So that's my first outcry to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if it will happen, we're going back to the times where only few students will be capable to go, and then later they will be on food stamps. And I'm really happy that Barack Obama was the president. I personally voted for him, and I'm a proud social democrat, proud. And I think that that's very good that the money is going to go up. But if schools will be again, the doors will be closed for the students, we will be 20 years, 30 years, 40 years in the same step. That is an answer that I think that should be fight very vigorously that it will not happen. Because it will hit again the population that was already for many, many years. Now going to the mother here that is that lost her son, and you know, I would never contradict someone that was under such circumstances and lost their children. But we here have to look about things in a different perspective too. True, the police have no right to abuse the law. There is no question that could be. However, in my 11 years that I have been here, I think there was a case before your son too, that a policeman shot taser, thought he had a taser, and actually he had a gun, and he killed a person. And there was an outcry there too, and I was in college then at that time too. And the schools, the colleges, Peralta College decided to not to open for 3-4 days, just not to create a riot in the school. And that is perfectly right. However, at the same month, there were 4 policemen in Oakland shot and killed by, they were to see who sits in a car, and when they got to the car, before they started to ask who are you, they all 4 were killed, and then have families too, probably wives and children and fathers and mothers. Therefore, I think for tomorrow, whatever you have, it will be very wise to bring up the 2 sides, not to react extremely. Because if you go and talk only, and let me tell you, I talk as someone that has studied law. If you will talk only about they doing, the law as it stands today, I can tell you as a lawyer, that I was a lawyer in my country. Okay, that I was in my country, and the law is the same here. A person that has reasonable reason to think that he's going to be attacked, you can defend him. That's the law, what the police saw. And that is the law in many countries all over the world. I'm not saying that means that it has not been checked, but it has to be checked with the fact. However, if both sides will come to a conversation that even people that are very angry don't use the weapons, because they better use their mouths and go and protest every single day, it will be also much more effective. And therefore, I'm not arguing, and don't think I'm against you, but there must be a balance on the other side too. Because it's not only black children are killed. Policemen are killed too, almost on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say I appreciate all of your comments. We are not against the police. We need police here in our community. They are to do a certain job, which is protect and serve, not shoot to kill. And just as they have rights to protect them, what about the rights of the people like my son or these young men here? You know, and everybody, we all have rights. And we're not just saying that we need them, we want to work with them, but we want them to be educated within the community, to have some kind of relationship with the community so they understand, so they're not fearful and take the assumption that they're in danger. I mean, if you think you're in danger and I think I'm in danger and you're afraid for your life and I'm afraid for my life, it's going to end all bad. So I'm not saying that. They have their role, which is to protect and serve and not shoot to kill, and we just want the cops to do their job. That's what the demands, and that's what this is about. This is about a program and voicing our opinions and our rights as a community, as a state, to speak out against what we feel we've been wrong, just as they feel that they can do whatever they do. So that's what it's about, and thank you again.
I think you're both. I love this. And like, there's two kind of sides to the argument. We can all respect each other and respect each other's opinions. But you guys have both a point. It's all about accountability, avocation. Everyone here deals with avocation, and avocation is fought along the lines of accountability. She's trying to hold the police and the state accountable for her son's death. You also brought up student fees. Fees being too high, but not only just being too high, but what do the schools do with the money? That's when students come in and advocate for students. Well, you hold the school accountable for what they do with the funds. And I like to ask Drew Hong a question. Drew Hong, I don't know too much about this. I'd like you to bring it up. He's been a student advocate, and he's also fought for justice as a student. And I believe you took a bill to the governor and got one passed. And I'd just like to know how you did it. What was your strategy on doing that?
Yeah, you want to go first? Yeah. So first of all, I want to address your question. It doesn't matter how young you are. I was 18 years old and I became the first student body president at Laney College, the youngest student body president. And at the age of 18, I spoke in front of 10,000 people speaking about immigrant rights. So it doesn't matter about how old you are, it's about your passion, how passionate about your cause, and anything is possible. And I met Jerry Brown in person. I got invited by the White House, meet with the president. So anything is possible, and I came from Laney College, a single parent. Thank you. Single parent, and it's not easy, but it is possible. If I can do it, you can do it too. And I'm from Laney College. And, like Geralyn mentioned, I'm also concerned about police. Because for immigrant community, like I mentioned, there's a thing called Secure Communities Program. It's a federal program under Obama administration where it is mandated collaboration with deportation agents and federal government and local police, law enforcement agencies, and sheriff to work together to share fingerprints and deport as many undocumented immigrants as much as possible. And so, for example, 17-year-old student, a community college student at San Bernardino County, was simply riding a bike without headlights on and got caught by the police and asked questions and went through the Secure Communities program, and he got detained and then got deported. And there's such cases across the state of California and across the country. For example, simply jaywalking and got caught by the police and got detained and deported. It is wrong and inhumane. And because of this inhumane action happening across the country, a lot of undocumented immigrants are frustrated and angry. And so what we did was, like Geralyn mentioned, we organized and mobilized and take collective action to fight against unjust laws. And so what we did was courageous undocumented youth and young adults and even parents conducted civil disobedience action despite risking deportation. That is powerful, and they proclaim themselves undocumented and unafraid. It's a new era of civil rights movement. So they risk their lives to change law for better for our people. So they conducted civil disobedience action, and they hunger strike, and they contacted elected officials and petitioned and marched on and picked a sign as little as 12 years old. And it was beautiful. And it was not only immigrant rights activists, it was coming from labor activists and faith leaders, and it was all collective efforts. And we shared stories, and we mobilized and organized, and because of our collective efforts, we were able to change laws. For example, in state government, we're able to pass this bill called Trust Act, which is essentially opting out secure communities. So state of California will not cooperate with federal government with secure communities. And it started since January 2014, and because of that, we saved thousands of immigrant families, and now they're with their families, and they're contributing a member of our society. They pay taxes, and then they help with the growth of our economy, and it's good for our economy and good for our immigrant community. And in federal government, we are able to pressure Obama administration to act to help our community, and he did in 2012 by introducing DACA, Deferred Action for Child Arrivals, as I mentioned, that would help certain undocumented immigrant youth to protection of deportation, and they will guarantee work authorization and driver's license for at least 2 years, and it's a renewable process. And so I have done it. There's a lot of people have done it, from Laney College to UC Berkeley to San Francisco State University. So my take is that whether you're students or activists or elected officials, it doesn't really matter. Follow your passion and continue to actively involve, as Geralyn mentioned, and it's all about your passion. So anything is possible.
My point of view on how to get bills passed is simple. It's might makes right. And the might of a student is our power to vote. Most college students are usually either 17, 18, or older, and by the age when you turn 18, you have the right to vote, and you have the right to elect your representative, and the right to protest. How many people here believe they have the right to protest? It's one of their constitutional rights. Give me a raise your hand. Is that everyone? In the state of California, if you do not file for a permit when you're protesting, you can be arrested and charged with a felony. And that's the state law. How many people actually knew that? So, if you guys are trying to make your voices heard, the only way you're going to be able to affect the change on a bill is if you could scare, and I mean that literally, scare your representatives into changing their mind on what they want to vote on. Because the people that we send to Sacramento, and if we don't hold them accountable, they're going to forget about the people that they're representing. And they're going to make decisions based on what they feel is right. But they need to be reminded of what we, the people who elect them, feel is right. Every year in March, we have something called March and March, where student governments from all over California send students to Sacramento in March to try to protest and try to remind our representatives why it is that we elected them and what is it we demand from them and what is it they should be doing to try to protect our rights. And that's the whole game. If you cannot be, I have a teacher who told me, this is this semester, and it was one of the most amazing things I heard from a teacher. He said, if you can't be counted on, you don't count. So if you're not ready to show up, if you're not ready to fight for your rights, then your problems, your struggles don't count. Because they don't matter to the people in Sacramento, because the ones who are sitting in Sacramento, they have their life already figured out. You're the ones who needs their help, not them the other way around. So you need to stand up and fight for your rights. You need to show up and participate. You need to make sure that if there's a petition going around, you look at it and find out what the petition is about, because that might be affecting you. You need to be more active in your communities. You need to be more active in school, in politics around you. Because students have equal rights. Students have a lot more power than you're led on to believe. But if you want to exercise those rights, exercise those powers, they'll fade away. And that'll become the norm. Many students, they only think like, oh, I'm just coming to college, take my classes, and I just want to be out. And I'm like, if you're going to be out, where are you going to go? There's no space. For example, most people don't know this, but the ratio of how many minorities get into UC colleges is if you look at just the ratio, you'll be surprised at how little percentage of minorities or men of colors or women of colors get into UC colleges. You could have the highest grade point average imaginable, but you still would have a lower chance than someone else of a different race or a different color. So that's why one of the reasons that I advocate is that you need to make sure that you guys are up to date on all of the situations that are going on in your state, all the laws that are being passed. How many people are aware of a law called Student Success Act that was passed, I think, last year? Anybody in here? That law will come into effect next semester, and it will mandate that every student, every single one, that includes us, every single one in your campus, every single one you see around walking around, is required to get a student success plan from their counselor and have it signed before they can sign up for classes. Peralta student, the Peralta district last year in total, in all 4 campuses, made about 800 student plans, ed plans, in total in every campus. That includes Berkeley City, College of Alameda, Laney, and Merritt. Now imagine that, 8,000 students. Imagine 10,000 students trying to get student ed plans, and that's just maybe one campus. Can you imagine how long the lines for counselors would be? And these kind of things got unattended. Nobody protested for those kind of things because we didn't have enough students. We couldn't get enough students to advocate for it because no one knew. And that's what they do. They pass laws when you're not looking. They attach laws to other laws and give it a nice name, but really what they're doing is they're trying to strip away your rights. And if you don't fight for them, and if you're not making sure that you're up to date, and that's on you, you have to make sure that you're up to date, make sure that you're involved, then you're gonna, and the day's gonna come where your rights are not gonna be existent. So, like I said before, if you can't be counted on, you don't count. So, I would suggest that, it's my opinion that all students should always be active in their communities. They should also be active in politics because you have the right to vote. We have the lowest turnout of votes of any elections every year, and every year the number of youth voters keeps getting dropped lower and lower. And that is not a good sign because the people that get the most benefits, that the people that the senators, the congressmen, or the Sacramento representatives that you send out and elect, the ones they're gonna advocate for are the ones that their voter base is gonna be. So if a 70-year-old people are the ones who are voting, then the ones who are going to get the most benefits are the 70-year-olds, not the 18-year-olds. So go out there, go out and vote, go out to advocate, and make sure that you're up to date on all policies. Making sure that you are up to date on politics in just your state or the city that you live in. Because there's so many things going on, and that if you hear about how many hoops you have to jump onto, some of the students that have to jump through hoops just to get their financial aid. And because they make like $1 more or $10 more, they're not eligible for financial aid. How is $10 going to pay for $500-600 worth of just units? Just units, and that's not counting the books. Some books cost $800 per semester for all your books altogether, depending on how many classes, what classes you're taking, and how many books are required to take. So that's one of the points that I wanted to bring up is that if you want to make your bills pass, if you want to make your voices heard, you have to show up. You have to fight, you have to protest, and you have to make sure that you do it within the law, but also make sure that your voice is not being suppressed by the representatives that you send that probably have forgotten about you. Because I know they shake your hand and they say, oh, you're the future, but what they're really trying to say is, you're the gullible student that's going to vote for me, even though you don't know what my policies are going to be like.
Yeah, I think about it a good topic about student power. Can Elijah and Justin, can you guys touch on, how can students show their power? How can you voice your opinion?
Getting out there and advocating for your rights. That's lobbying, that's speaking to people, that's learning your resources and researching about what's going on, learning the issues and the problems that we all face together, and then banding together, finding people who are interested and have the same problems that you do. That's one of the ways that I actually help advocate for my students is by speaking to them and by talking to people on different campuses, not just College of Alameda, which is the main campus that I represent, but as well as Laney and Merritt and BCC. Also, some of the issues that we face on our campus is one of the main things is the Student Success Act. A friend of mine in the Associated Students of College of Alameda is actually starting a program because we found out that students who speak many different languages, there's no resources for them. And so we don't have a name for this program yet, but we found out that people who need to ASL interpretation, they can't find that on our campus. There's not enough resources, and now with the Student Success Act, they want to take resources from us. How are you going to take resources from us when we need resources to get to the next level? So that's what I advocate for.
So, how many of you guys know that you have a way to affect the fees that you pay on campus? Like just by showing. You guys didn't know it? So, The fee per unit in the state of California for community colleges is set at $46 a unit right now. You guys all know that probably right now. You guys have had to look at the bill when you had to sign up for classes on Passport. But did you guys know that the extra fees that you guys have to pay, that there had to be a decision-making process for those fees to be implemented? And that the most popular way to implement fees on campuses is by a campus-wide election? You guys have the power to say how much, to talk about the money that you're spending on new classes, about the services that are provided to you, about what you guys have access to. I'm working with the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. In California, there's 112 campuses from north to south, cover the entire state of community colleges. We are 2.3 million students, the largest grouping of students in the entire nation. Do you think that it's really wise for Sacramento to ignore 2.3 million voices? They can only do it if we stay silent. And so events like March and March and things like getting involved with your student government, whether it be for your campus, for your district, for your region, or for the state like I'm doing, those are vital roles in exercising your power because you have a seat at the table. By show of hands, how many guys know that your professors are actually your allies in this fight? Yeah, you guys didn't realize that. We have associated students, and every campus has their own associated student government. Did you know that every campus also has a faculty senate? And that they have to talk about the issues and how, because of lowered education funding, that they're having to teach more sections. They're having to take up more jobs, more classes, just to be able to pay the bills at home. They're not getting the rates that they deserve. They're not getting the services they need to make sure that you all are getting the knowledge that you guys are entitled to. California community colleges have an open door policy. That means it's eligible for all of you guys. There's no base requirement except for you have to be here. Literally, you show up and you can sign up for class. So you guys have a great opportunity for higher education. So you guys need to learn how to be able to advocate for that and to be able to organize and to get yourselves involved. Whether it's talking to Carl about what's going on at ASLC, or if you come and talk to Alasia if you're at Alameda, if you talk to me, or if you talk to Valentina if you're at Berkeley City, you go talk to Tracy, the Merit president. Wherever you're at on your campus, there's always an associate students, and there's always a group of people that are concerned for your rights, and they're trying to advocate for you. And it goes all the way up.
Justin, can you tell us a little about, can you tell us a little bit, real quick about the March and March? When is it, and what is it going to look like this year? It's probably different from past few years, but yeah.
So the March and March is an annual sort of protest in advocation for education rights. It's to make sure that that Sacramento knows that we're still out here and we still need the money to provide education services to everyone, because education is the pathway for us to actually continue to live on as a society. If we aren't educated, if we don't educate ourselves, then the people who have the knowledge are going to take advantage of it. And it's for us to fight to make sure that the opportunity to be educated still exists, not just for us, but for the future generation.